Good evening, CanHammer fans, your source for 40k from the Great White North. Welcome back to Read Along, and we're going to be reading this month's White Dwarf, so that's November 2017. Just received it today, just cracked it open, and so we're going to have a look. I'd just like to thank our sponsors before we start. That's Martin at wargames.co.uk. His website is wargamesuk.co.uk. And also Dylan over at Multizone, right here in Ottawa and Gatineau. So without further ado, let's get going. On the cover this month is Necromunda, which I don't know if I'm excited about it or not. I'm really into Shadespire right now, and you know, the question on my mind is, with all these games coming out, can GW support them all? What is the worst that happened is these games kind of fade. Like, what's that Scout game that came out in 7th edition? The Kill Team that came and went. All those sort of Horus Heresy model box sets were clearly not meant to last. They were just cheap ways of getting those models. But, you know, Shadespire seems to be supported, and so hopefully it's going to last. And Necromunda has been a big deal made of it, so hopefully it will last. So I guess we'll see. I never played the original Necromunda, and I much prefer 3D as opposed to just playing on a board. But Shadespire has shown me that that does work very well if it's a good game. So I guess we'll see. Let's keep going here. Alright, so as expected, some news about Necromunda. And as I predicted a couple of weeks ago, I thought that Necromunda would probably be the Christmas game release, and it seems like it is going to be. Yeah, also here talk about the new warbands for Shadespire, of course, which you've already seen on the channel, and some other Christmas gifts that will be available to buy. So another feature here on Necromunda, just telling you some of the features of the game. So it looks like a sort of 2D board-based game, but there's going to be little bits of scenery here that kind of act for line of sight and to make the rooms and everything appropriate. There's going to be sort of personnel cards. There's templates, the return of the templates. So I'm glad I kept my Dark Angels templates. Not that it'd be Dark Angels. And then, you know, lots of markers and measuring and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see how the game ends up. As I said, I never played it before, so I don't know what to compare it to, but be interesting. It seems like it's going to be $150. Pre-ordering this weekend and available 2 weeks after that. So not quite Christmas time, well before Christmas in fact, so maybe this isn't the Christmas release. So this is all the extra terrain you can buy. So it looks like this doesn't actually come with the game. This is going to be extra, which is kind of crappy. Some Necromunda bases, which you can certainly use for other GW models here. 25 and 32 millimeter Necromunda bases, which would be nice. And then gang cards for gang-specific tactics. So definitely looks like another game like Shadespire, but based on Necromunda IP as opposed to based on Sigmar. Here, of course, Sepulchral Guard and the Iron Skulls Boys released and already on the channel, so we can skip over that. And the Codex Tyranids, which is coming out this week. And it's going to be your usual data cards and things with that. This is interesting. So, Tactica Tyranids. With the new codex out, we thought we'd share some sage tactical advice with you, how to use your Tyranids and how to fight against them. This is interesting. Okay, so let's see. Astra Militarum. If you're using Tyranids, they tell you to use infiltrating units like lictors to engage the enemy and prevent them from shooting. Aim for quantity of attacks over weapons that inflict multiple damage. If you're Astra Militarum fighting Tyranids, always shoot the big ones with your big guns. Use damaged vehicles to charge units of smaller Tyranids to hold them up or force them to retreat. Interesting. cool little table there that they give you. Of course, Craft World's already out, and the new Craft World collecting box, and some designer notes about Craft World. Eldrad, which came out released as a separate box. Some Warhammer Quest cards, Dark Millennium playing cards. Interesting, okay. It's like actual playing cards, okay. Battle Journal. So I heard about this. What's the Battle Journal? So notebook when you're playing, keep track of victory points, objectives. Interesting, okay. And the Age of Sigmar Battle Journal as well. That's interesting. That might be cool, except that most tournaments, if you're going to a tournament, have a pack where you can write the results and stuff. So anyway, that's an interesting little thing. A little Christmas present for people. All right, hobby supplies. So this painting handle I'm very interested in. As someone who just holds my model by the base or by the model itself, I think this would really help. And although I know people just stick it to cork, or they pin it to this, or they glue it to this, I think this would be cool, and you can just switch the model in and out. What's the kind of mechanism here? It's a spring clasp. Okay, so it's nothing bigger than a 40, which is fine. It's nicely hand-shaped. So I think I'm going to pick up one of these. It's going to be $10, which is not expensive. It's less than some of the paint pots. So I think I'm going to pick that up. Painting mat. So raise, inadvertently knock over a plant, it won't spill. Silicone, breeze to clean. Yeah, I might pick that up as well. Because what I have been using is my green mat, but yeah, maybe I'll pick that up. And the water pot. Interesting. I kind of like my mugs. I think I'll keep that. And lots of different paint sets. Alright, looks like there's a lot more scenery coming out. There's Promethium Refinery. There's thermic plasma conduits, thermic plasma regulators, some pattern runes. There's the Citadel of the Everchosen for Sigmar, that big 8-pointed star scenery set. There's the Runes of Elixia, which just looks like a collection of Sigmar scenery from before. There's Outpost Pythos, which has the containers and the bastion and some of the other scenery that we had before, and the Hive Shield, which is the generators, and a couple of Void Shield generators. So I guess they're trying to sell these packages of scenery to help people get their tables up and running, also to sell the scenery. So it is what it is. Here is the Astraeus, the super heavy Primaris assault tank, basically. And yeah, it's a bit of a beast, a little bit of an ugly beast. I don't think I'm going to get one, to be honest. I don't really like the look of it. I wonder how big it is compared to the Mastodon. But yeah, I'm not a big fan, to be honest. It's got void shields and yeah. Now it doesn't tell you how much it's going to be, but I think it's going to be probably $200 and something, and no hint of the rules either. So I guess we'll see. So video game news, there's been this thing about this World of Tanks game using some Warhammer tanks. Then, so if you listen to Forge the Narrative, they had a great interview with Guy Haley recently, the last episode, and he's talking about his new, the novel, long-awaited novel of the Blood Angels versus High Fleet Leviathan, The Devastation of Baal. And there you go, it's going to be out very soon, I think next week, or, yep, 2 weeks from now. Then there's The Last Hunt, a novel about the White Scars. Then there's some other novels here, 40k and Sigmar novels, and so lots of Black Library stuff coming out. Some letters, and the old Temporal Distort, taking us back to the old days. Tank Shock Spearhead, and so a feature on Necromunda. And you can see some of the miniatures here, which are awesome miniatures. including female miniatures. And so is that a sign of things to come? More female miniatures. We've seen more female miniatures recently for sure. And so maybe some plastic sisters, maybe. So here are the gangs. Pretty awesome. And some design notes and things like that. Very awesome. Some of the scenery that you'll find. And of course, I think it's way better if you can play it 3D, but you know, obviously it takes a bit more investment from people to play like that. Here's some more stuff on Necromunda. Definitely if you're a fan of Necromunda, this is the magazine for you this month, and a battle report of Necromunda. All right. Alright, Conquering a Realm Gaming. Last month saw the release of Firestorm. Do we take a closer look at this campaign expansion? Yeah, so I feel like AOS is really taking a hit. So we haven't had any AOS literally since 8th came out. And then in the middle of nowhere, they released General's Handbook 2, which is great. But then they didn't follow it up with any model releases or any new campaign books or battle tomes or anything. And then now it's Shadespire and Necromunda. And this Firestorm came out and most people haven't even heard of it. And that's it. Even Chris, who's like hardcore into AOS right now, didn't even end up buying Firestorm. So yeah, AOS is taking a bit of a hit. I heard rumors that it's going to be rejuvenated starting after the new year, that they're going to go through 2 or 3 month release cycle of just AOS. But I find it hard that they're going to start releasing 40k stuff right in the middle of such an aggressive release cycle. So we'll see. We'll see what happens to Sigmar moving forward. So this is kind of a campaign with some players, some guys playing in this campaign. And yeah, you know, that's about it. I bought the skirmish book a long time ago. I never ended up playing. There's Firestorm, there's Path to Glory, you know. Armies on Parade was just recently. Very cool. Golden Deemer, Orc Megaboss. Glory of Corn. Cool. Look at that banner. That's crazy. Look at that banner in this miniature. That is ridiculous. That is really quite ridiculous. Hand painted. Wow, that's crazy. That is crazy. Very awesome. Palador, Chocobo Riders, these guys look crazy awesome too. Yeah. Modeling and painting. Heavy Metal Team. Magnus. 300 hours of painting apparently it took to paint Magnus, which is hard to believe, but yeah, it looks awesome. But 300 hours? Hard to believe. There's Typhus, Magnus, Valkia the Bloody, Gabriel Seth, Primaris Librarian, Beast Cloud Raiders, Frost Lord on a Stonehorn. So this is a feature here about this guy Tom and the miniatures that he's painted. Designer's notes on Tyranids. So this is the leak that came out for the Screamer Killer. I guess we're gonna see it in a few days, but Screamer Killer, movement 7, 4+4+6, strength, toughness 7, 8 wounds, 4 attacks, 3+ save. 1 Screamer Killer can include up to 2 additional Screamer Killers. 2 armed with a bioplasmic scream and 2 monster scything talons. Pretty cool. Bioplasmic Scheme, 18-inch Assault D6, Strength 7, -4 AP, 1 damage. Adrenal Sac, Spore Cyst, Battering Ram, Monstrous Brood. Cool. Will we start seeing Carnifexes on the table? That'd be cool. I think that would be very cool. Alright, so just design notes about the Tyranid Codex, and I guess we'll see in a few days what that holds. Brotherhood of Iron, collecting and painting. This is an all-night army by the looks of it. As cool as all-night armies are, I haven't seen very many. I hardly see any knights these days. Return of the Battle Company, Lord of the Rings. Sprues and Glue as our regular in-depth look at modeling Necromunda options. Here we go. Paint tips. How to paint some of these crazy bright colors. So this is interesting. This is probably what I'm going to end up doing for the orcs. I'm going to base with Avalon Sunset, then I'm going to layer with Uriel Yellow, or the yellow that I have the airbrush for, and then wash, and then highlight with Screaming Skull. So I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. Extra flesh tones. So this is how you paint kind of black skin. This is how you paint more lighter flesh. So Kislev flesh. I never thought of using Kislev flesh. I would always start with the Rakarth flesh, but that's more gray. Reichland flesh shade, Rakarth flesh, Pallid Witch flesh. Yeah, so that's why I use kind of zombies with the Rakarth flesh and ending with the Pallid Witch flesh. But for more muscular flesh is like how I painted the Bloodbound. But for lighter, normal color flesh, it's really Flayed One flesh. Interesting. Okay, base with Kislev flesh. Bone, Red, Mephiston, Evil Sun Scarlet, Fire Dragon Bright. Yes, I do like hitting red with the orange highlight for sure. There's a lot here, eh? So this is all the how to do the Samhain. This Ulthway and how to do Samhain. And here's how you do your Dire Avengers from the Shrine of the Sunblade. White robes and red crests. Some Blanchitsu. Look at this. This is like the mausoleum terrain pieces put onto a Taurox base. That's pretty funny. I could actually do that. All right, so new for Christmas, all these sets, lots of paint sets. You can buy the whole range of Citadel paints for like 1,200 bucks, I think. We got the calendar, we got battle journals, the paint mat, playing cards, water pot, the handle, all sorts of things. Shadespire, Necromunda, and all the Warhammer stuff, and all the Sigmar stuff, and Blood Bowl, and Blight War, Silver Tower, and Warhammer Quest, and the Battlefield. Yeah, there's so many things to buy. It's a little bit crazy. Scenery, hobby essentials, and finally readers models. So Night Haunts. Whoa, look at that. Kev Lawrence's Gundabad Orc Army. Wow. That's pretty impressive. That's a lot of models. In the bunker. Tau and Skaven, Skyfleets, Necromunda in 3D, Battle for the Mirror City, and Lord of Change, centerpiece of his army. Pretty cool. Okay, so that's it. Actually, the cover is a front to back double cover like that. So, all right, well, that's it for the White Dwarf for this month. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.